You have spoken to all manner of
Mm.
artists, musicians, visual artists, writers about what they do.
Yeah, and I have to say the motivation for all of that is really purely selfish because I really I think that most artists who are really making their own way are so often out there making their own way. It's very easy to take the ups and downs of being an artist too personally, and I think it's really important to compare notes.
Did you find in talking to these folks that it was a way to kind of get out of your head? Because so many artists, and for all the both right and wrong reasons, can get so involved in their own
Absolutely.
world.
Absolutely. And that's really why I like to interview artists of other genres more than I like to interview musicians, because life on the road is not a mystery to me anymore. and I find that it's sort of my required reading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I have an interview to do, I have to do the research to be able to go to talk to that person.
Yeah.
And what a great excuse to really immerse myself in someone else's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really, really important to, when you have the privilege of having a microphone and the spotlight, that you use that well.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's really important to turn your gaze outward.
Yeah.
And not just hold too tight to it.
Did you find that whether it's speaking to a writer or a visual artist, that one or the other has more in common with being a musician, or less? You know, compare and contrast.
I don't know. You know, it differs so much from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
I know that one of my favorite interviews I ever did was with a painter who was and I tracked her down. She was my age, and she lived on the same block that I lived on in New York City. And and I met her, and she and I are the same age, and I just felt like I had met this better version of myself in this way. and I think that any time things are being done with a great intensity and a depth of focus and heart and emotion, that kind of goes beyond just the intellectual process, which I think that's like performing, you know, and I think there's so much more in common, be it a writer who is performing on the page in private, or, you know, I think that when you are making something, you are doing a sort of private performance. And I think being a musician, one of the best things about it is that you have a social life that comes along with being a musician, and you get to share that moment of performance with other people in a very personal way. And a lot of artists don't have that, and maybe that's the difference. But I think that moment of intensity and creation is really a moment of performance.